Hello and welcome to a Fallout 76 episode. I built this home yesterday in an existing location. My intention was to build inside that dead-end train tunnel. It has a railway car and a cement block entrance above it. There is a lot of radiation there, and I thought, okay, this will be a challenge, but I couldn't put up with the Geiger counter ticking noise all the time when I was in my hazmat suit. So I'm just east of Harper's Ferry. I completed the build. I was okay with it until I found this new location. I do love a challenge, and this one was extremely challenging. Now let's take a quick look before I build. So this is the only spot you can enter where the little lawn chair is. You kind of have to push and jump at the same time to get up onto the wood raft area. So basically this is like a cypress tree just coming up out of the water, and they've built all these series of ramps and stairs all the way to the top. Poor guy. Died in a boating accident. You have to kind of get used to jumping up over all of these vines and sharing your accommodations with a few boneheads. Now I have a little workbench right there. I kind of wish these little Coleman-like stoves actually worked or were an option to cook at, because they're really cool. So there's quite a bit up here that's going to respawn. A bed, a bunch of junk, teddy fear, little target shooting practice. Okay, the next step is to actually see if I can drop the camp system. And it looks like a yes. Now I'm just looking around to try to make sure that I can fit at least the front area in, where it's the only spot I can actually climb up into this area. And I want to keep the camp away from anything that might respawn. And there we have it. Now we can begin the build. The thing about building in Fallout 76 is it always has to have a foundation, whether it's wood or cement. Now, if you just want to drop a bed, some workbenches, even that, your power armor station, if you can find a spot, that's fine. This is the plan from across the lake that I built earlier in the day. So what I'm going to do is hit store, and it's going to store all the components and break it down. Now, the original blueprint is still there. But what I need to do is find a place in the water or somewhere on this deck where this is going to light green and I can begin building. And it didn't look good. Basically, you have to walk around or swim around till you can find a spot to drop your foundation. Once you do that, you can build your own stairs and walls and upper floors, roofs, etc. Well, and there's our green. That's what we're looking for. That's a legit place to place the foundation and begin the build. You cannot stack foundations. I always try. Maybe it will someday. It did in Fallout 4, but in this one, no. One level only. So now I just have to position the stairs coming up off the foundation to a higher level that I can continue my custom build. Now we stack a second set of stairs to get us up to the living area up there where that bathtub was. I could get to a third level, but then I felt it was too high and would be the floors would be bumping your head when you came around the side here and would interfere with accessing that area. So I went back down and just removed that set of stairs. And now what we need to do is place the first floor piece. And if that snaps on, we're good to go. Again, if it turns green, you're good to go. Now, if a larger piece of wood or floor does not work, try a smaller one. There are longer, narrow ones and ones about half the size. So that worked. Now I've got a platform that I can climb up on and continue to build. Now in this case, I had to use the narrow ones at first, just to see what it's going to let me build around those tree roots. Yep, and sometimes that happens and you have to start all over again, climb up and continue your build. I was a bit slow on that piece because I wanted to be sure I had enough headroom to pass underneath. Now sometimes it lights green, but it just won't let you put it there because it's getting interference. So you just have to try. And just keep hitting those buttons and checking your headroom there and continuing your build. And you seriously never know what's going to work until you try a piece. I mean, this piece actually fit, and I left it there for a little while, but it just looked really weird just having the pylons just hanging down like that. So I ended up deleting it and just putting in a normal floor. I was hoping that it would sit in the water or on top of something else here that was different than an actual foundation piece. These actually snap on top of the cement foundations or the wood ones, and they're really handy because it gives you the set of stairs and a platform for basically one build price. And yes, I'm OCD about making sure all of the platforms line up correctly, so you have to unhook them and twist them the other direction so they all line up just perfectly. I also know I'm getting a little close to the edge of the build area. And then I realized I was actually out of supplies, so I was just not paying attention to that fact. I was just trying to put it down. Why is it green? Is it green? And it's like, whoop, I don't have enough wood or steel. Just checking to see if I can pass through underneath. Everything looks good. And on to the next step. So while I was in Harper's Ferry, I visited the vendor there and purchased plans for the brick building set. I think it was 275 caps, red brick on one side and like a white plaster on the inside. It reflects light really well, so you only need very little light, and they can stack quite high. So here I am kind of using them for the first time. I just couldn't get the edges to line up cleanly, and I don't think they do. I tried and there was no way of doing it. Maybe you put a metal pole there or something, I don't know. So basically I laid down some of these new brick walls. I wasn't entirely happy with how they were all fitting. And then I realized it was the flooring, so I ended up storing all the walls, then all the floors, and replacing the wire see-through floors with solid wood floors, and I like the look a lot better. Now we can start placing our workbenches, cook stations, stash boxes, etc. I had it all stored from the very first build. So you just place everything back down in the configuration that you like best. I really like these little cage lights because they're super bright and you can actually turn them on and off, which is a really cool function. If you just have the bare bulbs hanging on the string or post, you can't turn those on and off. And these ones you need just like maybe 3 or 4 in your build, and that should be sufficient. Now I'll just drop a small generator, about a power 3 or 5 should be just enough for you to run the lights you need around your base. I also need to remember to power the missile launcher that I have. Always put a few turrets up. I think there was an attack while I was fast traveling. I think this area has a lot of flying blood bugs and things, because when I returned 2 of the turrets I had to repair, but I didn't see anything. I was expecting lots of mirelurks and Lord knows what come out of the woods, but so far I have not been home enough to witness any of this stuff. So I think this is actually a pretty safe location so far. I just moved the little camp system over a little bit so I could jump down from here instead of having to go all the way back around. So that was the reason I did that. That was it. every time you relocate your camp, you'll find that certain stored components you don't need anymore. I had a huge cement camp area, so I didn't need the rest of these, so it's best just to go ahead and delete them because they take up less of your build budget. Now this was the tough part. I had to figure a way to get the water purifier in and run power to it. This was one I had from another camp, so I just ended up storing the components and then trying to break it down and see if it would fit back in the water. If all else failed, I could just go down to the edge of the water and hit collect, but I figured why not have a little purified water so I could make adhesive when I needed it. So once I split those two components up, then I could place the large water purifier easily in the water. The only problem is the water here is so deep I can't just walk up and collect the sample. I actually have to dive into the water, collect the samples, and come back up. And I also had a little problem where I was going to fit the 10 power generator, so I had to just slide this turret over and place the generator right on the surface of the little raft thing sticking out here. Of course that didn't work. That time it worked. So now I have a place to put the generator and run power out to the purifier. This can eat up hours of time. I find it very fun and relaxing, but after a build you just want to get out and continue on with a quest or go out and shoot things. So this is kind of nice and right brain, the building part, and then go off and do something else. Yep, that's me in my hazmat suit in the water. Definitely needed the hazmat suit for this entire build. Now I have some waterborne disease. I think it's pretty much done. Always you'll walk away, tweak a few things. Like I said, I ended up replacing those floors and just making it a little bit larger up top and putting a bed and the power armor station up on the second floor. And here's a final look at the finished base. So you either have the stairs or over by the mailbox to get up into the structure. There's your generator and your water purifier. I had the little oil drum fireplace there, but it was interfering with me jumping down. Okay, here's the final homestead with all the proper wood flooring and all of my workbenches all neatly lined up. I ended up taking the walls out here at the end because I wanted a bit of a view and clearance for the missile launcher. And here's just a little of the second floor. But that's all going to depend on the overall budget. And here's your location. Just a little east of Harper's Ferry and the Valley Galleria Mall. Thanks for watching and see you out in the wasteland.